Welcome back to Jeff Randall Live. Struggling retailer Argos is to close or relocate 75 stores as it shifts emphasis to online sales. As part of the move to online retailing, the company will reduce circulation of its well-known catalogue. Sky's Neil Patterson reports.
A high street staple for almost 4 decades. Despite the changing retail landscape, Argos remains famed for its Aladdin's cave of a catalogue. But like so many others, the company is feeling the squeeze and must now adapt to survive.
What customers are saying to us is that they want a wide choice of product available to them locally that has certainty of availability and immediacy that they can pick it up soon.
Since its launch in 1973, Argos has become one of Britain's largest retailers based around its famous catalogue. There are currently 739 Argos stores across the UK and Ireland. At least 75 will be closed or relocated by the end of 2017. Tough trading conditions have forced the rethink. Argos parent company Home Retail Group has announced a 37% fall in profits in the first half of this year, with Argos making just £3.3 million. Part of the strategy to reinvigorate the Argos brand is to move away from being a catalogue-based retailer to push online. Of course, there are any number of competitors who've been working in that sector for a number of years, building up trust, building up a customer base. And one might question exactly why Argos has taken quite so long to realise that digital is the new high street. After all, Argos' unique selling point was that it was a one-stop shop for all manner of brands and goods. Now you get all that with a few clicks of a mouse and from the comfort of your own home.
Well, it's not a store you go in to browse anyhow, because you can't really see what you're buying. I wouldn't think it would make much difference, really.
Well, I think it's a really good idea from a point of view that that's where the retail market's going anyway.
Well, I'm always into a little bit of nostalgia, so I've always loved a good catalogue. And, I guess it's the way of the future, my man.
The circulation of the catalogue will now be reduced, and whilst they hope there will be hundreds of Argos stores for years to come, the shift in business model is risky so late in the day.
It's definitely been losing business to Amazon. Amazon is the powerhouse of the sector, and more of us are going online for these commodity, everyday items rather than going to a high street store. That's why we've got so many vacancies on the high street.
Argos says the change will create jobs, not lose them. But with the retail industry still struggling and many of its competitors already fully active on the internet, Argos' current woes could ultimately prove fatal. Neil Patterson, Sky News.
Well, joining me now is George MacDonald, editor of Retail Week magazine. George, nice to see you back on the show. Now, let's be clear, this is not really a recession story, is it? It's more about changing patterns in consumer behaviour.
I think it's a bit of both. Argos was hit in the recession because it serves such a huge swathe of the public. About 70% of people go to Argos, but equally, how people buy, how consumers shop is changing massively. Argos has reacted to that to some degree. It's actually been quite early in adopting a multi-channel model, but it would admit itself it became a little bit slow in the last few years to react to just how fast everything's changing. Could
it be that Argos had a unique retail offer? The idea that you're going into the shop but you can't see anything and you pick it through, you have to pick your way through a catalogue. That was interesting, it was new, but it's an idea whose time has come and gone.
Well, it's the only business model like that in the world, and so the skeptics would say there's a reason why that's the case, and they would say, yes, everybody will go on Amazon, they'll search, etc., etc. But Argos actually has changed its business a lot. There was about 500 million visitors to its website last year. Things like click and collect, where you find things online or on your phone and they're ready waiting for you in the store, have become quite a big bit of Argos's business. So it hasn't been an entire laggard, but it has been running to catch up with people like Amazon's development.
If it is all about convenience via one of these, computer, shopping online, then surely only two things matter: price and certainty of delivery. Can Argos possibly match Amazon on price? And can it match Amazon on delivery service? Because if you go on a website like Mumsnet, they're all complaining about Argos's delivery standards.
Well, the interesting thing is that companies like Amazon, which are only online, have increasingly been establishing physical distribution networks, either lockers in places like One New Change, the shopping centre near here, or even convenience stores.
Why do people want to pick up something if Amazon will send it to the door?
You can get it today. You might have to wait for Amazon to deliver it to you tomorrow, but that is real convenience in a shop. You know, if something breaks, if you want it now, you can check whether Argos has got it. You can go to the shop and it will be there. You know it's in stock, and that is an advantage, especially if they can take advantage of the changing property market to bring those sorts of costs down and really leverage the scale they have of stores.
Some brands are loved, others are merely tolerated. Is Argos a loved brand?
Whether it's loved, I'm not quite sure. I think there's a great deal of affection for it, and I think in the online world you do have the opportunity to reinvent yourself to some degree. If someone went online now and looked for a particular product, they would be looking on price, and Argos in many respects is price competitive. So if you go on there and you find, oh yeah, can get it at Argos in this price, it's in stock in the store and I can literally walk in there and take it out with me, that could be compelling, but there'll be a lot dependent on the execution.
Now, Argos says it's going to close up to 75 stores. Some may be relocated, but this will be another hole in the high street, George. I just can't think for the life of me who's going to fill all this space.
No, there's possibly been a little bit of alarmism about these closures. That's going to happen over 5 years, and they've got nearly 750 shops.
Right.
So the real change in their portfolio is relatively small. But what will be interesting to see is, dependent on the success or failure of the new strategy, is whether they choose to shut many more, whether they think, actually, we can do with 500, we can do with 400, we can do with 100, and make as much or more money.
Who's next to copy this model, i.e. the drift from bricks to clicks?
I think a lot of people are increasingly doing that, but it is really about bricks and clicks. Yeah. What it is all about now is convenience, and the store in many ways has become an advantage as long as you've got economic stores. You cannot be saddled with a load of shops that are going to drain your money because they're on upward-only rent reviews for goodness knows how long.
George, nice to see you. Many thanks for coming in. George McDonald, Retail Week. Well, that's almost all we've time for this evening, but before I go, here's